You ever notice how the same people who scream humanity are the first ones to lose their mind when the rules actually get enforced? It's weird. We're about to watch what that looks like real quick. This first one is just pure entitlement in motion.
Fucking body! Oh, shit, fuck you! Fuck you!
Now, she walked up behind the police officer during an anti-ICE protest. I was going to say ice raid. An anti-ICE protest, and she dumped a full drink over his head like he was like a random extra in the movie. An NPC, if you will, as the youngins say these days. And then she ran. And the crowd cheered like, well, they was over there. She didn't do nothing. Really? That right there is the mindset. Rules are for other people. Consequences are oppression. And when the officer does his job and takes her to the ground, suddenly he's the problem. The same mouths that demand accountability for everyone else go silent the second, one of their own has to face it. Now, I want you to watch what happens when the same energy tries to follow federal agents all day.
I think someone needs to call 911. They are seriously attacking me.
We'll call 911 right now.
Yep.
What's your location?
Call 911. I'm right at the corner of Jefferson.
They want to arrest me, guys, so come to... Oh, don't shoot at my window!
Nope. No, I will not get out of the car.
What the fuck? You guys are gonna...
No. I will not get out of the car. You guys, I need to see
What the fuck? They're gonna break my window, guys. Guys, please. They're gonna take me to NBC, guys. They're gonna try to arrest me. This is insane. I can't believe this is happening, guys. Lord, please protect me. Lord, please. Guys, I don't trust them. They're gonna break their windows. They're insane. You guys are gonna let this happen? These are unbelievable. These are unbelievable.
Calling 911 right now.
Guys, I'm getting out, okay? Guys, my keys are in the car, please. They're breaking my window, guys. I'm here. It's insane. Insane. This guy's breaking my window, guys.
Someone call the MC or someone call the police.
They're gonna try to arrest.
Call them now.
I was unlocking the door.
Call them now.
We're calling 911.
You was unlocking the door. Really? It says her name is Maria Sante, and she spent her time tracking ICE, live streaming the locations, and obviously interfering. When the agents finally boxed her car in and drew weapons, as she claimed, I didn't see them draw. Well, yeah, I didn't see them draw a pointed weapon at her. The window got smashed, and she was extracted in tears. Well, I didn't see that part either, but that's what I'm gonna assume happened. And then tried to end it with, I was gonna unlock the door. Many call it trauma. The internet called it overkill, but nobody wants to talk about the hours of obstruction that led to that moment. You can't spend all day poking the bear and then act shocked when the bear stands up. That's not enforcement. If anything, it's just cause and effect, right? Now, while all that chaos was being celebrated in the streets, something else was happening at the border.
In 30 days, I stopped millions and millions of people from invading our country. Think of it. Our country was being invaded. 25 million people poured through our southern border, and they came from jails, and they were drug dealers, and they were people from mental institutions. They were mental institutions all over the world, not just South America, all over the world. They opened their doors, they brought them into the southern border, and they released them into our country. We're getting them all out. They're all getting out very fast.
In 30 days, he says, I stopped millions and millions of people from invading our country. I definitely ruined that quote. I stayed over. Quote, in 30 days, I stopped millions and millions of people from invading our country, end quote. And obviously, that's not a slogan. That's a measurable drop. You know, encounters collapse. Releases hit zero for months, you know. And the same voices that said it couldn't be done overnight are now quiet because the numbers don't care about the feelings. You know, when the will is there, the border becomes real again, fast. But enforcement doesn't just hit the ones who cross illegally. It also hits the ones who overstayed and still collected every benefit along the way.
They did not just put the handcuffs on her, they also put chains on her. And she was telling me that it was hurting really hard, and she was asking them to loose the chains a bit. They did not just put the handcuffs on her, they also put chains on her. And she was telling me that it was hurting really hard, and she was asking them to loose the chains a bit. They didn't do it.
Sunnyvale resident Daria Soboleva is talking about her mom. 59-year-old Alevtina Soboleva is now in ICE custody at this facility in southern Louisiana after she was arrested by ICE officers at the Buffalo Niagara International Airport as she and her daughter were wrapping up a trip to Niagara Falls.
She's very, very, very responsible, and I'm responsible. So to me, this is a shock. I don't know what happened because we did everything right.
In October of 2021, Alevtina came from Moscow on a 6-month visa to visit her daughter at her Sunnyvale home. But before the 6 months was out, Moscow invaded Ukraine. Her immigration attorney says she then applied for asylum, having spoken out against the invasion.
People cannot go back to their countries because they are seeking asylum and they are in danger. Alevtina can't go to prison if she goes to Russia.
But the asylum process can take as long as a decade.
While you're waiting, you have a letter that says your presence in the United States is authorized. But nowadays, the current administration took the position that they can still take people like that into custody because their lawful presence in the United States expired.
I really hope that we can bring her home.
You guys want to see something wild? Just forget about for a second that she was in America illegally for the last few years. Take a look at this. She was given a valid work permit, a California Real ID, and medical insurance. Just wrap your head around that. This woman came in here on a temporary 6-month visa, somehow ends up with a work permit, a California Real ID, and free taxpayer-funded health insurance. I mean, what a shocker. But keep in mind, these people are being given IDs, so what can they do? They can walk right in and vote illegally. Not that California requires ID to vote, though, anyway.
I'm about to say, yeah, California don't require ID to vote. But this woman entered on a 6-month visitor visa, stayed years past it, applied for asylum, and somehow walked away with the work permit, a real California ID, and free health insurance. No criminal record, just paperwork that never got resolved. Now she's in a Louisiana facility, and her daughter is on TV talking about the handcuffs and the chains. You know, the story is framed as cruelty. You know, what's never framed is how the system rewarded noncompliance for years and then acted surprised when the music stopped. I'm saying you can't hand out real IDs and work permits like participation trophies and then cry foul when the original status catches up. And while some are still fighting to stay, I want you to look at what's happening on the other side of the border.
Y'all, they just deported 15 immigrants to Congo. And these immigrants come from South America. Some of them are from Colombia. And this is what they have to say about Africa, Congo. In my country, I'm considered white, and I never been around these many Africans in my life. So that alone, it started making me feel uncomfortable and unsafe. And you mix Africans and poverty together, that's just not the American dream I was looking for. When the Trump administration said that, hey, you could go to Mexico, we'll deport you to Mexico, just sign these papers, I was like, why would I want to go to Mexico? Colombia is a better country. Why would I want to downgrade? And now here I am in Africa. Trump, what the are you smoking? So they saying that Africa is messy. It's a lot of poverty, and they don't like it. They think they live in a lie. Now, one of them had the option to be deported to Mexico, but he refused to go to Mexico. And his family is still here in the United States. So Mexico versus Congo, and you want to be close proximity to your family. It seemed like it would have been a no-brainer, but I guess he refused the deportation, being deported to Mexico, and there you have it. He even stated that his living conditions is a lot better than being in those asylum holding detention centers, because, he have a lot more freedom. But yet water's inconsistent and the electricity is inconsistent there in the capital of Congo. But yeah, I would have signed the deportation papers to Mexico, or I would have self-deported myself. You would have got $1,000, and Lord knows what you could do in Colombia with $1,000 USD. But yeah, they saying it's a nightmare.
Crowded streets, yellow taxis packed in, people who just got sent back, flooding the poorest neighborhoods. The reaction video asks the only honest question left: why don't they just self-deport? Because the incentive structure was built the other way. Stay, the system might still work for you. Leave, you're on your own. The math only changes when the consequences become clearer than the benefits. Which brings us to the one that matches the title.
A pregnant woman who was returning to Connecticut after vacationing in Las Vegas was picked up by 6 ICE agents at Harry Reid International Airport. Her fiance tells us he's distraught over the arrest, and he's asking the U.S. government to release her. A pregnant woman...
So, pregnant, just finished the birthday trip to Las Vegas, trying to board a flight back to Connecticut. 6 ICE agents were waiting, and the removal order was already in place. Now, of course, the internet's first reaction is sympathy. I mean, anybody who's human, if you don't feel nothing, you're just a robot. But, the internet's first reaction is sympathy for the pregnancy and the vacation. Almost no one leaves with the expired status or the final order. That's the tale. The story only works if the law is treated as optional and the emotion is treated as the main character. But a removal order doesn't care about the destination, the last flight that you took. It only cares that the clock ran out. Now, there's a difference between compassion and inversion. Compassion says help people follow the process. Inversion says, the process is the enemy and the people enforcing it are the villains. Well, we watched it as the second one playing out, Drinks thrown at officers, you got agents being doxxed, benefits collected on expired status, and then the outrage when the same system finally says enough. You can't build a functioning country on selective rules. Either the line means something or it doesn't. Either status matters or it's just a suggestion. The footage doesn't lie about which version certain people prefer. The numbers at the border shifted because the policy shifted. Really, it shifted because the policy was enforced, if I'm being honest. The arrests are happening because the orders are being carried out. And the reactions you're seeing are what happens when a long stretch of no consequences meets a sudden return to them. That's not cruelty, man. That's gravity. And if you made it to the end of this video, that's exactly what I want you to write in the comments. Gravity. If you made it to the end, that way I know. For with the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged. And with the measure you use it will be measured to you. This is Matthew 7:2. Y'all be safe. Please go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.